What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Blue Pill Podcast. This is Abe, your host. Today is July 27th, Saturday, 2024. Just had a little bit of time before work, and I did two parts to this series already of famous people I've met. This should be the last one, unless for some reason I meet more throughout my life. Obviously, if I meet several more famous people, I'll make another episode, but this is part 3 and the final one of famous people I've met. Like I've said before, this isn't like an ego-driven thing. I'm not name dropping. It's just I thought it'd be a cool, interesting subject to talk about as someone who's not famous, you know. A lot of these I was given the chance to meet a lot of these individuals because I bartended for a 4-star restaurant at an inn, a hotel. We won the James Beard Award, which is like, if you're not in the food or beverage industry, it's like basically winning like an Oscar. So, yeah. And it was a real upscale, fancy place. So I ended up meeting celebrities. But let's see, episode 1, I can't remember who all I covered in episode 1, but the last episode I got to meet Rick D, got to meet Turtle Man. Episode 1, I got to meet Eddie Montgomery. I got to meet Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein from the Misfits, original guitarist from Misfits, and then he has a solo metal band now. By the way, they're going back on tour, the original Misfit lineup. I think everyone except for the drummer, so Glenn Danzig, Doyle Wolfgang, Jerry Only, which is pretty fucking sick. I want to go and see them so bad. And Jamie Deluxe, shout out to Jamie Deluxe. If you don't know who he is, he's like a punk conspiracy theorist. So I'm a punk conspiracy theorist. If you like this channel, go check out his channel. Tell him who sent you. Maybe he'll give me a shout out. But he covered Glenn Danzig here recently, and Glenn's a conspiracy theorist. I've seen interviews with him of him talking about, you know, the Apocrypha, like books taken out of the Bible, werewolves, like the occult. He's got a dope ass occult library. He's talked about chemtrails. He's talked about, I mean, go look at his old stuff from the Misfits. His first solo album before Danzig, it was just called Glenn Danzig. And the album name was Who Killed Marilyn. So like, he had a song about JFK getting assassinated. Like, he's like an old school conspiracy theorist. But recently he was on stage, and he's like, he was talking to the audience, I haven't been back here in 4 years because of some fake made up bullshit virus, you know. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, calling out COVID and shit. I don't know, I thought it was cool as a conspiracy theorist and a huge fan of Glenn Danzig. He's my favorite singer, favorite musician. I was like, that's dope. Because a lot of people that I love, man, as musicians have like gone full retard, super woke, you know, taking like the worst take on everything, like Green Day. Fucking lame. But yeah, that was, I just wanted to go off on that little side rant. So let's get into it. Angie Harmon. I got to meet Angie Harmon. Now, I'm not gonna lie, dude, at the time, I was in the middle of a divorce. And my ex-wife, she's dead now. But I don't feel I'm speaking ill of the dead. My ex-wife was a cunt. Like, she was just an evil fucking person. She was an alcoholic. She used to beat the shit out of me. Um, she would literally wake up every single day angry. All day. Angry. It got to the point I just ignored it. And it would be over my mother. Like, I'm talking like years. She would wake up every single day angry at my mother, like hating her. And I'm like, for a while at first, I was just kind of like, like trying to be a good husband and trying to be loving and trying to be like, what's wrong? How can we fix this? But when you wake up angry every day for like, after like a year of it, I was just like, nope, I can't even care anymore. You just, every single day, you're going to wake up angry. I can't care anymore. And sadly, I didn't know what to do. I mean, you burnt me out on trying to be a good, loving husband and trying to understand and help you. But if you're just angry every single day, all day, of your life, like that's on you. Go to therapy or something. Maybe they can listen. That's what we pay them for. But anyway, so I was going through a divorce with her, and I was trying to drink myself to death. I ended up in the hospital, basically laying in my front yard in my boxers, waiting for the aliens to come pick me up. Because they asked me, how much you been drinking? And I said, 2 months. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I've been drinking for 2 months straight, every day, all day. And like barely fucking eating. It got to the point I was like shitting blood. When I did shit, it came out like black tar. Like it was bad. Like I was sweating like pure alcohol and shit. So yeah, when I first met Angie Harmon, I wasn't smashed, but I was like feeling real fucking drunk when I waited on her. And I wish, it's just the honest truth, man. I was going through some shit and I was drunk as a skunk waiting on her. Like to the point I had like ghost legs. I wasn't like falling or nothing, but if you've been an alcoholic, you know what ghost legs are, when you just feel like you're just floating. Had ghost legs, was slightly slurring, so like she brought in like a huge amount of people. They were filming some sort of documentary because I guess she's from Kentucky. So they were filming a documentary. That's what she was down for. And she had like her and like a whole film crew. So they put it like a tag team, like me and my buddy Dane were waiting on her. And there was probably like 15, 20 people. Like it looked like the Last Supper. And where I was drunk, we have to read the specials and stuff. I was like, can you do all the talking, bro? And he's like, really? You're going to do that to me? I'm thinking in my head. I didn't say it, but I'm like, yeah. I made like $300 fucking dollars that night, by the way. I'm sure there's people who bartended and served in bigger cities and shit, but like in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, like $300 is like, that's a good fucking night, dude. At the time, I was paying like $450 a month for rent, so I mean that's almost all of my rent right there, dude. It was fucking awesome, but I had to stay there till like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. She's cool as fuck. She's super nice. I'm not speaking ill on Angie Harmon. By the way, if you don't know who she is, she used to, I think it was Law and Order. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was an actress in Law and Order. But she is strange, dude. Like, she was super quiet, but she had like piercing eyes. And like anytime you would talk to her, she would just be like it was like I felt like she was staring into my soul. And when you would talk to her, like, hey, what would you like to drink? You know, she'd be like, I'll take a Diet Pepsi, you know. So I don't know if she was on maybe pharmaceuticals, like or antidepressants or like SSRIs or something. She didn't seem fucked up. She just seemed like, I don't know, it was like being around like a cult member or something. But of course they did the whole, you're not supposed to ask for autographs, you're not supposed to bring up their line of work, blah blah blah, you know. I still told her I was a big fan because I grew up, my mama loved true crime. So she was always watching like true crime documentaries on cable TV in the 90s, and she would watch Law and Order. What was their theme song? It was like a dun 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 dun. So I remember watching that with her. Yeah. So I called her, like I called my mom. My mom was babysitting my daughter because, like I said, I was going through a divorce. So my wife was no longer taking care of my child, but I called my mom at I called her when I found out that I was going to have to wait on Angie Harmon. I'm like, I'm not getting Stella tomorrow. Here's why, you know? And she's like, well, call me back later, you know, just in case. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm going to be here till like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And I called her around 1 o'clock, and she's like, don't worry about it. Like, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm like, first of all, it was cool as fuck. I got to wait on Angie Harmon, and I made $300, dude. And she's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, dude. But that's about all I have to say on Angie Harmon. So she was cool. It was interesting. It was nice. I was fucked up. Alright, let's get on with the next story. Okay, this one was actually one of the most recent, the most recent famous person that I got to meet. I do not remember the name of the guy, so you would have to look it up, but I can tell you what he did. There was a band back in the day. Oh, cool, a biplane. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see it? An old biplane? Sorry. Oh, I never even introduced my co-host either. Lammy Chillmeister. I keep forgetting. He's chilling with me today. There was a band called Exile, and the lead singer used to wear like this leotard, like a onesie, a jumpsuit. And their biggest song that well, here, let me tell you first, like, so me and Sammy went to, I think it was Oktoberfest in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, and they had a band on, which I could talk about them one day, of meeting them. They're a pretty big band. I wouldn't call them like celebrities or nothing, but looks like devil horns. Me and Sammy went to an Oktoberfest festival on Main Street in Harrodsburg, Kentucky. It was this small little town that we were living in before we moved here to Lexington. We're just sitting there listening to music, drinking, you know, and there's this big old dude next to me, like not like bulky, muscular, but like honestly, I'm not being mean because this guy was cool as fuck, but like a fat guy. He was fat, you know. And he had like purplish legs from like diabetes or something. You could tell like he was not healthy. But he's sitting there just drinking margaritas, like getting into the music, man, because it was like a pretty good rock band. And me and her were drinking next to him and sitting down next to him and just enjoying the show. And he goes, "Hey, man," and pats me. And I go, "What?" And then he hands me margarita drink tickets. And I'm like, why are you doing this? And he's like, there's no way I'm going to drink them all. you look like a cool dude, like you could use some. I'm like, fuck yeah, because you have to buy the drink tickets at like when you come in and pay admission or whatever. You have to pay admission for the bracelet to show that you're 21 or up, and you have to buy drink tickets. So like, I understand why they do it. They're trying to keep an eye on you and make sure you're not just getting smashed. And by the way, dude, after the drummer for Exile gave me his margarita tickets, I went to go get a margarita with the drink tickets, and another dude goes, hey man, come here. I go, what? And he goes, we're heading out, him and his family, and he's like, I'm not gonna use these, take them. And they're beer tickets. I'm like, dude, y'all are trying to get me like fucking smashed. Like, I ended up getting pretty fucking lit, but I wasn't like acting crazy but I was pretty fucked up by the time we left. My wife was like, seriously? Like, you came back with like tons of tickets? But yeah, the drummer from Exile, he gave me some drink tickets. So I come back and we watched the full show of this band. I can't remember the band's name. It was like something Dragon. They're really cool. This is the second time I've seen them. I bought a CD to support them and shit. I'll have to ask my wife who they are. All the girls love them, dude. All the local girls, and they all know him and go and watch him every year. And they're all like obsessed with him because he's got long hair. He wears like super tight bell bottoms where you can see his junk, and he's a cool dude. He's all right. And then we went back and we finished the show, and I was like, hey man, thanks again for the drink tickets and stuff. And he's like, hey dude, you look like a musician. And I was like, well, I'm not anymore. I said, I used to be. I said, I was a lead singer for a punk band. And he was like, oh, what band? I told him, and Vicious Fist. I said, we had like probably, I think it was 3 shows. We got in the newspaper like twice. Almost got a record deal, but my guitarist quit the band to make blues. Now he works at Kroger like me. But he's like, I pretty much told him all that, you know, and he's like, oh dude, I'm a drummer. And I'm like, oh cool. Like, and I was expecting him to say like he was a drummer for like some local, no offense, like shit band like me. I would consider myself a local shit band whenever I was a musician. Like, we weren't famous, you know. And he's like, hey, do you remember that band Exile? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I know you know this song. I wanna kiss you all over. And I was like, dude, I fucking love that song. And I was like, you were in Exile? He's like, yeah, I used to play drums for Exile. I still play music. I just do like collaborative stuff, like with other people and stuff. And I'm like, fuck yeah. And he's like, find me on Facebook. I'll do music with you. We did find him on Facebook. I just haven't got around to doing music. I would love to do a cover of that. And maybe like 1 or 2 of our own songs. We could write some songs together. And I think it'd be cool maybe to make a single, like, because I don't know, do they even still make singles anymore where it's, or LPs where it's only like 1 or 2 or 3 tracks, you know? Do they even still do that? Let me know in the comments, but something like that, like 3 tracks, you know, and we'll call our band, we'll call it a project, you know, like, I don't know what we would call ourselves, but I don't know, what would be the word that's the opposite of exile? That would be kind of cool. But yeah, he was a cool dude. I would love to get back in touch with him. Just life has been so crazy, where we basically have to move because we got evicted and shit from our old apartment. It wasn't anything we did. We just got bought by new owners, and they doubled the price of rent from like $500 to fucking like $1,000. It was retarded. But yeah, that was my story of meeting the drummer for Exile. What do you think about that story? The next one, like I said, I was bartending at Beaumont Inn at the time. And there was a guy who came in with his wife and 2 other friends. And I got to talking to him. By the way, chubby kind of guy, older guy, super fucking nice. You could tell he was like very intelligent. I could tell he was like smart, but like a little on the nerdy side. But as nerdy as in like he read a lot and was well educated on history and shit. Super nice. They came down from, I can't remember which state, but they had come down to kayak in a local river over in Shakertown, which I've spoke about Shakertown on this channel multiple times. It's an awesome place. If you ever come to Kentucky, go to Shakertown. There's tons of hiking trails. You can go on tours of Shakertown. They do festivals. The Shakers were basically a cult. You could not have sex. You could not bring children into this world. They're actually still around, but their membership, there's only like 2 Shakers alive right now because you can't reproduce. So how do you keep, I mean, you can convert to it. To this day, you can become a Shaker, but they're kind of like all Amish, you know, like they make brooms and they don't use technology, and it's pretty cool. It's neat. I mean, there is some darkness to it though. Like they do like these dances to where you have to do it a certain way and do like these chants. And they call them Shakers because they would like shake while they dance and stuff. And they had like bells and stuff on them, so it would make like noises. It's honestly, it's ritual magic is what they're doing. And there is some darkness to it. Like I had a buddy, Jordan, who bartended and served at their restaurant in Shakertown, and he said that place is haunted. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, they found a baby in the wall. 2 Shakers had sex and secretly hid, sorry, some dude checking out my car all angry looking. Which I'll show you something here in a second that's pretty fucking dope. Anyways, they had hid the pregnancy and stuff, and then she had the baby secretly, and they just they either killed it and put it in the wall, or they just put it in the wall and it died. But it's sad stuff, man. I don't know. That's why I despise religion and stuff, honestly, is stuff like that, you know. But oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm talking about Shakertown. I also had a buddy too, the same river. I'm assuming it's the same river. You can like kayak or paddleboard and shit. I had a buddy who was paddleboarding with his dog on the paddleboard, and he got stuck near some waterfall or something, and like he couldn't get out. They had to call the like rescue team and shit to get him and his dog out and shit. Like he was there for hours, like 4 or 5 hours. Crazy shit. But anyways, this guy went out to go kayaking with his wife and his friends. And I'm like, well, that sounds cool. He's like, yeah, I want to check it out for research for a book I'm writing. And I'm like, oh, cool. What's your name? He said it's Ronald Wolford, which is a badass fucking last name, like wolford. Ronald Wolford Blaire is his name, and he's a Civil War historian, Civil War author. So he went to research for his book, and I was like, that's awesome, dude. And he's like, yeah, this is my book, wrote it down and shit. I still haven't bought one, but I should. Maybe I'll email him, buy one, and get one signed or something. And he's like, yeah, tomorrow we're going to Camp Nelson. I'm like, oh, I've been there. That's another fucking place. If you're ever in Kentucky, dude, go to Camp Nelson. It's so fucking cool. And actually go hiking on the trails. If you're physically able to, I'm telling you, it's worth it. When you go hiking in these trails, there's old remnants of old forts during the Civil War battle. You can walk through them and on them and stuff. They're like mounds and shit. It's cool as fuck, dude. Go check it out. But I was telling him, yeah, me and my wife hiked all their trails and we went through their museum, and it's awesome, dude. Their gift shop's cool too. Like, I wanted to so bad, but I don't think we had a lot of money at the time. But they had like old Civil War hats. Like, I want one so bad. A guy that I was living with for a year, David, when I first started this podcast, you guys probably remember. If you've been listening to this podcast since day one, you know who David is. He was this dude that lived out in the middle of nowhere, and me and my wife lived there, and it was pretty cool. He used to wear a Civil War hat, a Confederate Civil War hat all the time. It just would have been funny because I would have had a Union one, and we both would have been walking around wearing Civil War hats. Mine would have been Lincoln. His would have been, Robert E. Lee. He would have probably been like, I don't like your hat, Abe. Well, I don't like yours. But if I ever do go back, I'm buying that fucking hat. I'm going to get it because they have Union and Confederate. I feel like I could wear the Union one without getting my ass kicked. I wouldn't wear the Confederate one anyways. I am pro-Union. But yeah, Ronald wolford Blaire. And dude, I'm a burnout. I'm an ex-druggie, ex-alcoholic. Well, I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, so I'm still an alcoholic. They say it never goes away. You're an alcoholic till the day you die. If you are one, a friend of Bill, you know. But what was I saying? I have a horrible memory when it comes to certain things. And my wife can tell you, but I store memories of amazing shit. When she first started dating me and living with me, she's like, dude, it's insane what you're talking about. Like, you remember shit. Like, I would be sitting there talking about ancient Egypt, and I've read all these books on ancient Egypt, and I write in my books. I underline, make sections, draw little symbols. I know what the symbols mean. I'll write notes, cross-referencing other books, go see page blah, 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 and blah, 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 And we were talking about something crazy. I was like, yeah, they used to use crocodile shit for contraceptive to, like, they thought it was birth control. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, give me just a second. I got up off the couch, walked over to my bookshelf, pulled out the exact book, flipped exactly to the page, and was like, yeah, see, blah, 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 blah. She's like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. When it comes to something I'm interested in, I'm like a walking encyclopedia. I have a contrarian I work with here. I'll be like, yeah, the Egyptians, they believed this and this and this. And he'll be like, that's not true. That's not true. Okay. Google it. Yep, it's true. See you later. How'd you know all that? I read, bro. I'm like pretty well read on the Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, Sumerians, Knights Templar, like, dude, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not just some retarded guy who just watches videos. I read too, bro. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing up my memory is I remember people and faces really good. So this guy came in a year later. I said, how you doing, Ronald? He said, I didn't think you would remember me. That was like a year ago, or it might have even been 2. And he was like, how do you remember me? I was like, I remember people I like. And he started laughing. He's like, well, that's good. I said, trust me, if I didn't like you, I would have forgot you. I was like, how was your trip, to Shakertown and Camp Nelson? He's like, oh, we had a blast. This time we're going to some other fort. I don't remember that, but was doing more research for a new book or something. And guy's a really good tipper, super nice guy, awesome people. But I'll wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen. Good, say goodbye, Lammy Chillmeister. Oh, he's sad to go. But I hope you guys enjoyed. That was 3 more people, and I think that's it. So go check out part 1 and part 2. I think we've been doing about 3 people each episode, so they're pretty good stories. They're pretty fun. Oh, that was what I was going to show you. I traded a knife yesterday. I got a new knife while we were on vacation on our trip because we moved into a sketchy ass fucking ghetto neighborhood. And I used to have a butterfly knife, but I don't know where it went. I used to have brass knuckles. I used to have all sorts of cool fucking shit. I have a hatchet for the house again, and I have a knife again. I bought a knife while we were on our trip looking for that obelisk that wasn't there anymore. Go check it out though. Go check out, it's a podcast we did on my paranormal vacation or something, or haunted bullet hole, called something along those. If you like paranormal and ufology, you'll like that episode. Now, that being said, while we were on the trip, I seen these knives. They're only $10 a piece, and they were pretty decent knives. Stainless steel, like pretty good knives, sharp as fuck. And I was like, I'm going to get a knife. And my wife was like, I'm cool with that. I'm like, because we live in a fucking trashy neighborhood and I need to start carrying one anyways. So yesterday, a coworker came in and he was like, yeah, I bought these 2 Joker knives and I don't really like one of them. And I was like, and he's like, I have it. I'll show you. And I'm like, oh, nice. Cool. I said, would you think you would trade for it? And he's like, why? What do you mean? I was like, I got this. I pull it out, flip, it's a switchblade. He's like, oh, that's dope. He's like, you want to trade that for this? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, are you cool with that? And he's like, I feel like I'm ripping you off. And I'm like, no, you're not. Because it's durable. And honestly, this thing is, I'm so glad I ran into him because I'm like, this is so much cooler than my other knife. I like more stilettos, like straight blades and shit, and thinner blades and handles. This one was kind of bulkier and kind of honestly like redneck looking. I'm like, I don't even really like this knife a whole lot. So like but when I've seen this, I fell in love with it. So it's got a little clip. Look at the fucking handle, dude. As someone who is like a huge fan of the Joker, Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, why so serious? And it's a switchblade. The blade has inscription on it too. Why so serious? It's got like a hollow point in the middle. Fucking sick, dude. So I got this from a trade. Yeah, I love it, dude. I fell in love with it. I'm like, I love this shit. But there's a little outro for you. I hope you all have a good day. Please like, share, and subscribe. Keep tuning in. Even if they are blue-pilled episodes you might enjoy. I like to do blue-pilled episodes every now and then because I am a normal human being. And I'm not Alex Jones over here. My whole life does not revolve around conspiracies. It's a big part of my life, but I like to just share stories and have fun and talk about stupid shit sometimes. Not important shit to give us a break from conspiracy. So, I love you all. Lammy Chillmeister signing off too. Say goodbye. Y'all have a good day. Like, share, and subscribe. See you later.